As always, I'm going to start this quick look video with the interjection that I am not a knife reviewer. This is just me showing off a knife to you guys because I think there's something about it that you might find interesting. So I just got this knife from my girlfriend. This is the Mcusta Jazz. It is made out of cocobolo and African ebony woods, and it has this music note inlay that also blends into the pivot, and it is just gorgeous. Really pretty knife. Now, I'm not hip to traditional knives, but I see guys all the time talking about transitions and feeling for any burrs or anything like that that would stick up, and I've been all over this knife and I cannot find any transitions that would fit that bill. Everything is smooth and flush. It's just a fantastic knife. However, it comes with a fantastic price point. This is not a cheap one. This knife costs $270 roughly. It's made out of VG10 and Damascus. It's got a mirror finish on the VG10. It's a 3.4 inch blade. The handle is 4.25 inch. It's just a little gentleman's carry. It's nothing that you would intend for hard use. The LinerLock is pretty thin. Much thinner than I would like. I've commented on other knives with really thin liner locks, such as this, and had my complaints. This one is no different. It's got like a little gear pattern on the back spacer here. A few little complaints I have about the knife on that back spacer. Hopefully this will show up for you. It doesn't quite line up. There's a few little gaps in there. Brand new, it also came with a little scratch down here. Not a big deal, but you know, you notice these things when you first pull it out of the box. At the lanyard hole, they took a drill bit and got careless, or as they were drilling that lanyard hole out, the wood chipped out. Either way, it's got a nasty little break in it. And it's only on this side. The other side looks pretty clean. Looking at this side compared to the other one, it looks like they radiused it. That might be what happened. It looks like they stopped on this one. That might be where they started the radius and just didn't continue through. Regardless, just another little imperfection that I've seen. Another look at that back spacer and that scratch. The knife has almost no detent. I mean, you barely give it a shake and it pops out. But it is tip down carry. So if the knife were to open in your pocket, when you reach into your pocket, chances are you're just going to close it. If it were tip up and it were open, if you reach down into your pocket, well, you see the dilemma. Now, tip down carry is going to be a non-starter for many knife guys. I've never really cared whether a knife was tip down or tip up. I would rather have tip up carry, but it's not a deal breaker to me. I can live with it either way. Since this knife has almost no detent, I would much rather it be the way it is. One final note, the sharpening choil, like every knife ever made it seems, was not done properly. So if you go to sharpen this knife, you see that flare at the very base? The sharpening notch will need to be extended out. It's on washers, but man, this thing is ridiculously smooth. I mean, you can see how easily it shakes open. Closing it's just the same. Very, very smooth knife. Very smooth. We've got a couple other Mcusta here I wanted to show alongside it. This is the Mcusta Basic. It has quince wood, pillar construction, Damascus steel, VG10 cord, just like all their other knives. Now this one was a little pricey as well, just because it's made out of quince wood. However, you can get just the standard basic model around $125. I have seen them cheaper. It just depends upon the scale material. In this configuration though, you are going to pay a little bit of a premium for the quince wood. Like its brother here, it is tip down carry. Again, that might be a non-starter for some guys. Me, I don't really care. This one has an excellent detent. You really got to get in there, dig your thumb into that thumb stud to get that guy to come out. The LinerLock is also much thicker than the Jazz. The LinerLock on the Jazz is extremely thin in my opinion, but if this is a gentleman's folder, it's not really intended for hard use, shouldn't be a problem. Also, you can get to this LinerLock on the Basic much easier. They both have jimping on them, but this one extends out over the handle just a little bit, just enough so your thumb can get in there and get some purchase. The Mcusta Jazz, on the other hand, is flush. You got to stick your thumb down inside of the handle to get purchase on it, to close it. Can be done. Nothing extraordinary. Just one of those little things you do notice though. This knife is stouter than the Jazz, so I would have no problem using this to cut cardboard or use it in my work activities, stripping cable, things of that nature, and I actually have used it that way. I've got a scuff mark up here in the belly somewhere. I'm not sure if it'll show up, but I have used this knife. Just like all of my knives, they do get used. Finally, I've got an Mcusta Katana. This one's in green. They changed the way they do their handles. I've got one of the blue original models. You see how wide these little divots are? On the show side, they're much smaller. Like the others, it's tip down carry, pillar construction. This one, of course, has the Tanto blade. Similar to the Jazz, the Katana has almost no detent. This thing just shakes open, and it shakes open with ease. It's also an extremely smooth knife. If I'm not mistaken, this one has one bronze phosphor washer and one Teflon. I could be incorrect on that. But you see, the detent is so weak, I can't even get it to pop open from the thumb stud. You got to get it you got to get a good angle on it and actually push backwards and then release it to get it to snap out. If you just try to pop it out in a normal rotation, it's going to fail. It takes a little trial and error, but like all things, with a little practice, you'll get the hang of it. Mcusta knives just have their own flavor, their own flair, heavily influenced by their Japanese culture, and it really shows. These things are almost a work of art by themselves. You don't see a whole lot of Mcustas running around out there, especially at this price point. Most guys would pass on this and go for something else. When you start talking those numbers, you know, there's just so many other knives people want. And this also has VG10 in it. I'm not the biggest fan of VG10 myself, but it is a knife steel that has proven itself time and again. Sure, you're going to sharpen it a little more often than, say, S90V. But for somebody who sharpens, what is edge retention? I've said that so many times. When you start talking $300 though, I would much rather see S90V, 20CV, M390. I'm like everybody else. I want to get value for my money. The market says at this price point, VG10 just doesn't cut it. But when you're talking about everything else combined in this package, I think it'll be just fine. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions or comments, as always, leave them below. Y'all have a good one.